Hi there, my name is Nostalgia Way, and in this video I'll be analyzing a YouTube animation gem from 7 years ago, man time flies, entitled Missing Halloween, which was animated by the artist Mike Inell. Allow me a moment to gush over how great this animation still looks after all this time, and the music in the beginning gave me such a hit of nostalgia. Also, I don't know why he did it, but Mike made the main character's mom thick. I hope that made you laugh because it's about to get very sad from here. This video starts out with a little boy excited to be going out trick-or-treating on Halloween with his friend, a little girl. As the boy leaves, his mother snaps a photo on her tablet of the two children. We're shown a sobering flashback of the previous year's Halloween, where the boy was apparently beaten up by some other kids and went home early only to find that his parents are out and he has no way back into his house. He sits on his doorstep and is sad until he notices a girl, who suddenly sits down on the sidewalk in front of his house. He approaches her and tries to befriend her, sharing his candy with her, after noticing that she doesn't have any candy in her candy bowl. The girl notices that the boy hardly had any candy to be sharing in the first place, and she appreciates this kind gesture. The inside of the boy's candy wrapper has a joke written inside. Meanwhile, the inside of the girl's candy wrapper is a note that reads, "You found me." That will become relevant later. The two are shown becoming fast friends with one another right before we jump back to the present, and there we see that they are going out trick-or-treating, where they bump into another group of trick-or-treaters but are quickly rejected. They decide to go door to door as a pair, and at every house only the boy is given candy in his bowl. The boy heads up on a hill with his friend, and they once again share his candy. Inside the wrapper of the boy's candy is a message reading, "Let's be friends." Inside the girl's, it still reads, "You found me." The boy and his friend return to his home where his mother and father are talking with a doctor. The boy, seeking his parents' attention, takes a clipboard from them and runs around with it. The clipboard apparently has a diagnosis of the boy as having an imaginary friend. The mother reveals the photo she took earlier to her son, explaining to him that the girl he's been spending time with is only a figment of his imagination. The boy and his friend take off towards the hill to hang out on, and the boy tries to understand what the diagnosis meant about his friend being imaginary. The girl guides him through a hole in the fence and into a dangerous booby-trapped forest. As he follows her through the forest trying to keep up with her, it appears that he trips and is killed by a bear trap. We see a white flash before we see the girl sat under a big tree, and it is then revealed that the boy survived as he steps through a clearing. The kids share candy with each other again. The girl's candy wrapper still reads, "You found me." The boy's wrapper now reads, "I found you." A search team is then shown looking for the kids, accompanied by the boy's parents. They happen upon the tree the kids are under and find the boy as well. They also find that the girl's lifeless body is caught in one of the bear traps. A female investigator withdraws a record of missing people, and we are shown that the girl was last seen at home with her family. In her lifeless hands is a candy wrapper reading, "You found me." The implications of this ending are dark to say the least. What we can infer, since this animation is devoid of coherent dialogue, is that the missing girl disappeared on a previous Halloween, and the lonely boy befriended her spirit, as all throughout the short there is never another character who directly interacts with the missing girl. Due to the state of the girl's body in the ending, it's clear that she died recently, but how recently is unclear. Did she die the year she met the boy, after spending time with him, or was she already dead beforehand? I suspect that she died not long after the two first met, since she hit him with her candy bucket when he scared her, although it's not clear since at this point she still hadn't received any candy while out trick-or-treating. It seems to be the case that as soon as the boy met the girl, she had already been a spirit. Perhaps it was the case that he was the only one able to see her spirit and even come in physical contact with her. Mike Inell's deceptively sweet art style, the grim foreshadowing, the rewatchability, and the emotional impact are reasons that I think this video currently sits at 28 million views on YouTube. I remember watching this video back in high school and showing it to a few of my friends. I don't really remember how they responded, but I remember at the time I thought this was a really beautiful thing, and I still do. But I think I took it a lot harder when I was in high school, just being younger and maybe a little bit more emotional. Still, when I watched it again after all these years, I did feel a tear or two starting to well up. It's just so beautifully sad. You know what I mean? I guess it kind of ties into the fact that this whole channel is about nostalgia. It was the nostalgia of the whole thing. It reminded me of that high school era that I was in, but also the excitement that the boy shows in the video kind of reminded me of the sort of childhood joy that you have about something, that sort of innocence. It was just kind of sad to see, namely because it was so heartfelt, but it was so heart-wrenching at the same time. On YouTube and on the internet at large, some things age poorly, some things age well. Sometimes things age poorly, but you still like it just because you grew up with it. Well, this one aged wonderfully, beautifully. I still think that it probably gets a lot of viewership to this day. I'm not sure about that though, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's a good one. It's a great one to look back on, and on the nostalgia meter, I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10. The effort, work put into this, the animation style, the heartfelt nature of the story, the sadness of it, the darkness of it, being this a Halloween animation, it all tied together completely, and I would give it a 10 out of 10 just rating it in terms of its overall quality. Missing Halloween was a bittersweet stroll down memory lane, as many strolls down memory lane are, and surprisingly still emotionally powerful after all these years and knowing what was coming next. Mike Nell has since moved on to very different projects from Missing Halloween. He also has another project similar to Missing Halloween titled Draw With Me, which I'll probably do a retrospective on as well, because I remember that one being pretty emotional for me when I was in high school too. But overall, you don't really see too many things like Missing Halloween from Mike Nell these days, which is sad on the one hand, but I'm not going to disrespect the man's moves. He can do what he wants with his channel, he can do what he wants with his art. Never going to try to stifle that, but more things like this, I think it would have a more resonant feeling. I really love this video. I really love Mike's art style, and it's one of those things that I think I'm going to look back on every now and then as I get older and older, which, you know, sad thing to talk about in and of itself, but as I get older and older, I think I'll remember this as one of my favorite YouTube videos that are out there. Just a strange little animation that you might come across and kind of get your mind blown by how great it is or how moving it is. But top to bottom, I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10 in terms of nostalgia, in terms of quality, all good. Nothing bad to say about it. If you watched this video and if you stuck around this long, I'd like to thank you. I know it's not of great quality, but we all got to start somewhere. So if you are interested in anything else like this that digs into old media that we can all feel nostalgic about, or maybe criticize if it hasn't aged the best but still appreciate it, then let me know in the comments. You can like the video, you can subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any constructive criticism, that would also be greatly appreciated. This is Nostalgia Way, and I'm signing off.